on blast.
And we are live. This is an NBA Finals edition of the Wrap It Up podcast on Blast Rap's post-game show. And this episode of Wrap It Up is brought to you by Clean Cuts Barbershop, 2013 Danforth Avenue in the East End of Toronto. Clean Cuts, the multicultural barbers that will always keep you fresh for any and all occasions. So go see Skip and the crew. As a wise man once said, tell ya.
Skip, I need a cut.
Check them out on Instagram at Clean Cuts Toronto or give them a call 416-917-4833 to book your appointments now. This is an NBA Finals edition of What a Time to Be Alive, Raptors fans. We've been starting the podcast like that all year, and you start seeing that phrase now pop up a lot more places.
Yep.
But hey, we'll just say that. Raptors win 118-109. Again, Raptors win game one of the NBA Finals, 118-109. Pascal Siakam puts up a stat line of 32, 8, 5, and 2. Is this real life?
It's real life, man. We're here.
My name is Sheldon Alexander. I'm here with my guy Q. Q, what is going on, my dude? How you feeling?
Sorry, I said Toronto. Canada.
Hey.
Canada. We are here. We are live in the NBA. We are the focal point of the NBA right now.
So that's one win. And, first off, I'm going to say shouts to all the people tuning in live on Twitter at Shell Alexander, as you've been rocking with us on the Wrap It Up podcast all year long after each and every Toronto Raptors game. That's on Twitter at Shell Alexander. Same thing goes for Instagram, where we take your comments and questions there. That's at Sheldon Alexander. And if you're ever late to the show, if you ever want to catch the whole thing, maybe you want to go to bed. You got to
work tonight or something.
Yeah. We become a podcast that you can find online on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and on YouTube. Just search On Blast Podcast or my name, Sheldon Alexander, and you'll find that feed where we bring you this whole grain goodness of Raptors wins. It's about to be June, and the Toronto Raptors are still playing basketball. We know, if you follow the NBA, June basketball means the NBA Finals. All day I was kind of like, man, this doesn't seem real. Because it's like a nervous kind of like hyped energy, because I love the NBA. I love the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And of course, I love my city of Toronto. So now, as I say, game one goes to Toronto, Q, 118-109 over the Golden State Warriors. What is the first thing? Where do you want to start with that? As the Raptors take a 1-0 lead in the NBA Finals. I'm going to keep repeating that because what a time to be alive.
Well, as the stat has just come up on the screen, I have to mention that Pascal Siakam, being his first Finals game, is one of 3 players in the last 30 years to have a stat line of 30-plus points, 5+ rebounds, and 5+ assists. Now, can you tell me who those other 2 players are?
Well,
just one, Allen Iverson.
Yep. And the others, obviously, I mean, every stat that has to do with the
you know
Finals,
who the other
it's
one
Mike.
is. You know who the other one is. But to be in that first, this is his first NBA Finals game. Now, we've been talking about the Pascal glow up all year. All year. Most improved player.
We're out here early on the Wrap It Up podcast, early games in the season.
Yep.
Foots was here talking about the Rico Hines runs.
Yep.
So, listen, there's a lot jumping on the Raptors bandwagon. There's a lot of people right now talking about ball, but let's keep it a buck. We were here from the preseason talking about the glow up is possible because of the work the man put in the offseason. And, hey.
It's paying off.
It's paying massive ways.
To my people in Toronto that, ride the TTC, when you're late and you're running for the bus and you're like 5 steps away from the bus, from the door, and the door closes and the bus zooms off? If you ain't on this bus by now, we're gone. People, sorry, we're gone.
So this is the point where I'm going to step in and I'm going to say, hey, it's game one. Don't overreact to game one.
Of course.
All the Raps are doing right now is taking care of business and winning their home games.
Right.
That's what you got to do, especially with Kevin Durant out of the lineup, who I've been on record. I don't think Kevin Durant's coming back, but you got to win your home games. first off, and that's all the Raptors did. They won game one. They came out and won the game you're supposed to at home to the Golden State Warriors, an undermanned Golden State Warriors team, but still, all the people that, have to talk about sports every day, it becomes difficult because you got to come up with something to say every single day.
Yep.
What I'm going to urge you guys as listeners is to not ride the wave. Right? There's going to be a lot of off days in between these NBA Finals games, a lot of time for a lot of nonsense to come up. But the thing to remember, it's just game one. You're supposed to go out and win your home games. Win game one. That's why you got home court advantage.
Yep.
I'll admit I was wrong about that in the regular season. I wasn't worried about coming in first in terms of having home court advantage in the NBA Finals. I'll be honest. That wasn't one of my worries. My worry was making sure that Kawhi was healthy.
Of course.
This team was able to do that and get home court advantage in the NBA Finals, and now we're at a spot where Kawhi Leonard played okay. 23. Yeah. Again, this is another game. You look at the stat line, 23 points on 5 of 14 shooting, which didn't seem like he shot way worse than that. 5 of 14. But 8 rebounds, 5 assists from Kawhi, but 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Kawhi Leonard wasn't even Kawhi Leonard in this game, and the Raptors still come up with a victory. I'm going to let you talk about Kawhi or Pascal. Where do you want to go?
Let's start with Kawhi.
Okay.
I think that Milwaukee series was a blessing.
Okay.
Because I think that Milwaukee series, I think it was the first time all year where Kawhi looked around and said, I trust these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that when the double teams and the triple teams came,
he's passing it out confidently.
He passed to everybody.
Yeah.
Even Serge got some looks at the 3-point.
Yeah.
He had no problem passing to Fred. There's another player. Well, I think we need to mention him later.
Mm-hmm.
We'll mention him later. But obviously Siakam, Kyle, Marc Gasol. He had no problem giving up the ball. So I remember when Milwaukee was up 2-0.
Yeah.
And the storyline was, well, Kawhi doesn't trust his teammates. Kawhi needs to move the ball more. Kawhi's, number 2 is a ball stopper.
Yeah.
And all that nonsense was going on. Mm-hmm. I think since then, we've seen that he's more than a willing passer.
Definitely. And here's the thing, right? Part of it was also on the Raptors playing at a more confident level.
Right.
And we talked about the difference in the Bucks series from the Sixers series was Fred, Norm, being able to look up at who's the guy in front of them and being confident. And because you got to remember, as much as sports and basketball is physical, it's a mental game as well.
Definitely.
And if you're Norm and Fred and you're looking up at Jimmy Butler and you're looking up at Ben Simmons, guys who are now taller than you, longer than you, they're better defenders, they're better players. There's a big difference between that and looking up at George Hill or Bledsoe, or in this series, Quinn Cook.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
And like Jordan Bell and the guys that, Sean Livingston, who isn't the same Sean Livingston he was a couple years ago.
Right.
And you're seeing the confidence from those guys. But clearly, another thing I want to give credit to, because you talked about Kawhi. It's Kawhi having trust, but it's also game plan from the coaching staff. Nick Nurse has to get a whole lot of credit for the game plan that they had, because I think you mentioned Marc Gasol. The Raptors did a really good job. It's like they knew coming into this series, hey, at the 4-5 between Siakam and Gasol, that's our advantage.
Yeah.
We got to use that advantage. And you saw Siakam, it doesn't take much for Kyle to get in his ear and be like, no, cook, and just give him the ball back.
Yep.
But for Siakam to have 32 points on 14 of 17 shooting, that's just work. That's just him looking up at Draymond confidently. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am patting myself on the back because listen to our preview show that we did the other day. I said, watch out for Spicy P, because Pascal will be able to get busy in this series where there'll be a lot of running up and down, and he's just like the Energizer Bunny, right? Just a whole lot of energy. He'll be able to get 15 points just off effort, running the floor.
Definitely.
How many times did you see the leak out pass from Kyle Lowry? And we mentioned third quarter for Pascal?
Yep.
Pascal in the third quarter had 15 points in the third, right? At one point, he scored 11. He made 11 straight shots.
11 straight. 11 for 11 since I forget the time in the second quarter. So about midway through the second quarter into the fourth quarter, he was 11 for 11.
That's crazy. If you're getting that kind of production from Kawhi or from Siakam, because let's be serious, for the majority of the game, there was one point in this game where Kyle and Kawhi were 4 of 14, but everyone else was 23 of 37.
Yep.
So if you're getting that kind of production from Siakam now, what happens if Kawhi's also cooking?
Yeah.
If I'm the Warriors, you're not worried because, again, you're not going to overreact. But
Right.
the matchups aren't, like, the players don't change, which was the thing that I thought coming into this series. The Raptors had the huge advantage because Siakam would get busy on the Warriors if he was on that team. Marc
Yeah.
Gasol would start on that team.
Definitely.
Kyle Lowry would, like, when you're looking player for player, this is a much better matchup for the Toronto Raptors than people were giving it credit for. Because one thing we said during the game, other than Steph and Clay, where are the points coming from the Warriors? We said that during the game. And you look around, who do you have the most confidence in, Q, to get busy, to get you some form of help?
On this team, I was saying Siakam too.
No. I'm saying on the Warriors.
Oh, the Warriors.
Right? So the Warriors, you got Steph Curry had 34 points in this game,
Okay.
8 of 18. Clay had 21 points on 8 of 17. After that, it's Draymond with 10. No one else in double figures. So I'm going to list off some names. Jordan Bell starts. Iguodala looked like he was hobbled and got hurt. Jerebko played 8 minutes. Alfonso McKinney played 8 minutes. Kevon Looney off the bench. He played 28 minutes. Cousins played 8 minutes. Quinn Cook, 9 minutes. Sean Livingston, 18 minutes. Of all those names, are you worried about any of those dudes if you're the
No.
Raps?
No. I think, if anybody from that list, you're thinking maybe Looney, because he's active. He's very active, right? So offensive rebounds,
Yeah.
easy putbacks, things like that nature. But other than that, first off, who's guarding Kawhi? Right?
Yeah.
Especially
Well, the whole team appeared to be guarding
apparently
Kawhi
the whole- the
tonight.
whole
They had
team.
everybody shaded
Yeah.
over to Kawhi.
Yeah, illegal defense isn't a thing anymore. We established that. But, right, like, now if Iguodala is hobbled, he obviously can't guard Kawhi.
Nope.
So now you're putting Clay. So now you're taking that offensive threat and
Yep.
making him the focal point of your defense.
That's tough.
If that takes away from his offense, now you're putting more strain on those other guys to come up with points. Now, of course, when they go back to Golden State, it's rah, 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 and they're home and they're comfortable. You might give them a couple extra buckets, but from the Raptors standpoint, you're still
Yeah.
looking across at Quinn Cook and saying,
Cook.
like, even Van Fleet, Van Fleet's looking across at Quinn Cook and saying,
But this is what I was saying. And I had an argument with a couple of friends at work today, and it's sports arguments, which is fun, right? At
Yeah.
this time of year, especially with the stakes this high. It's all fun. But one thing we were talking about, the Sixers might have been the most difficult matchup the Raptors have had, just because in the playoffs, it's about talent and who can get a bucket when. And so when you're looking at a team that has Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, and normally Ben Simmons when he's not being guarded by Kawhi Leonard,
right?
those are all legit NBA players that at least 2 of them, if not 3 of them, will be on the floor at all times.
Right.
So now that limits who the Raptors can play because you're limited with how many guys can get their shot off and contribute on a regular basis. But after you get past that series, now you have the Bucks and now you have the Warriors. And I'm taking Norm over those guys.
Yep.
All those guys I just
And Norm
named.
barely
I'm taking
played.
Norm. I'm taking Fred VanVleet. We know that they just didn't want to pay McCaw. He
Yep.
got minutes for the Raps. Cool.
Yep.
But, like, again, Alfonso McKinney was on the freaking Raps 905 last year.
Yeah.
And that guy's getting out there to try to guard Kawhi for certain stints. I just didn't understand how so many people thought this series was such a crazy mismatch and a huge Golden State being favored in this series by that much. I didn't understand that because people looked at this series and got it all messed up. And when I'm talking about the matchups and what happens in the half court, okay, there are moments where you talk about Portland. You mentioned the Portland series and how, hey, Portland had a lead, but Portland kept blowing those leads late. And here's a difference, because the playoffs is about can your stars stop runs and get plays. And we talk about how Kawhi, even when he's struggling, he finds a way to get buckets when he needs to stop a run or start or cap a run. The kill shot, as we were calling it while we were watching the game. And I'm going to point out a part in the third quarter where the Raps offense Siakam was getting busy, but other than Siakam, everyone else was kind of like slowing. The Warriors were making a bit of a push. The lead only got down to 5.
Yep.
And then what happened, Q? Kawhi comes down the floor, hits a 3.
Yep.
What does that do to the rest of the team when Kawhi, just so calm and cool, knocks down a triple like that when your offense is struggling? The lead's down to 5, crowd's getting tense, it's a third quarter. Boom, Kawhi hits a 3.
I think this is kind of, it started in the Philly series and continued in the Milwaukee series, and now we're seeing it again, where offense is just not, you come down the floor, there's a turnover, you come down the floor, there's a missed shot, the other team's kind of scoring on their possessions, and you're thinking, oh no, what do we do now? And then Kawhi just calmly comes down, boom, hits a 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, we got that guy, right? So now you're confident again. You're confident again because when you need that bucket, we know where the ball's going to.
Yeah.
Right? Which takes the monkey off Kyle's back,
Yes.
takes the monkey off Siakam's back,
Totally.
etc. So now they're able to play free again. Right? Same thing when he comes down, even if he doesn't make the 3-point shot, he comes down, he gets a foul, he hits his 2 free throws, you look up, oh, we're still up by 9 or we're still up by 7. Because they have the answer.
Yes.
They have the answer. Which lets them play freely, which then they come down. Everybody else thinks, all we got to do now is stop Kawhi because everybody else is sputtering.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not that easy.
And then, right? They send the triple team on Kawhi thinking, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden you pass the ball out to Danny Green and everybody's like, oh, well, it's Danny Green. Danny Green hasn't hit a shot in 3 series. Boom, 3-point shot made.
It's Danny Green.
It's Danny Green.
And I want to touch on piggyback something you mentioned there, the free throws. That's a part of being a professional scorer. I tweeted that out during the game. Kawhi's so smart. Because the other thing that happened in this game, during that same run, he hits a 3, and the Warriors are on the brink of getting blown out.
Yep.
They're on the brink because they're not getting any baskets. The Raptors are doing such a great job of running Steph and Klay off the line.
Right.
And Steph, got to give him credit because he did a great job of getting to the free throw line.
Right.
And Steph Curry's free throws was really the only reason why this game remained close in that third quarter. Steph in this game got to the line 14 times. He was 14 for 14 from the free throw line. And a lot of that was in the third quarter. Again, Raptors were struggling for offense, and Golden State's keeping in the game because of Steph. So what does Kawhi do as a counter? Oh, well, I can do that too.
Yeah. They just run the pick and roll.
Yeah.
Then it's always all of a sudden it's Kawhi on Looney.
Yep.
And Kawhi just backs him down, turn around, swing through, foul.
Exactly. And it's the same thing we saw in the last series against the Bucks. The Bucks didn't adjust, and that's why they're at home watching the finals. But essentially, it was screen and roll, Kawhi looking at Brook Lopez, as Mark Jackson says, may I have this dance?
Yep.
And he's getting busy. Same thing you saw in this game. Kawhi, when the Raps needed a play, when they needed to get points, Kawhi was either going to take Looney and he's going to score, or he's going to get to the free throw line. And if you're in a position where you're in the lead and you're just trading free throws with Steph Curry, that's what you want. They're not running up and down the floor. They're not in transition shooting threes. They're not feeling good. The Warriors are front runners.
Yeah.
Right? So when you slow them down, force them off the line, that's how you want to play.
Exactly.
And for Kawhi to eliminate that run himself, and then, you close out the third quarter, now you're up 88-81 after 3. Cool. A little more breathing room. Kawhi can get to the bench and rest now. And as you mentioned, the bench is a different bench. It's more confident now.
Right.
So you're good starting your bench in the fourth. It was Van Fleet, Lowry, McCaw, Siakam, and Ibaka. If I go back like 2 weeks ago, people would be screaming like, wait, what kind of rotation is this, Nurse?
Exactly.
What are we doing? But instead, Raps get out and run, do their thing where the Kyle to Siakam, getting his fast break points. Siakam hits a crazy layup. He, at that point, had 30. He had that crazy, like, over-the-shoulder. I don't even know how he got that to go. But while that's happening, it's Kyle taking a charge, doing the normal Kyle Lowry things that Kyle Lowry always does. But the run starts building with Kawhi on the bench.
Yeah.
How important is that for the Raps to get this win? Not only with Kevin Durant out, but Kawhi not having the quote-unquote Kawhi Leonard type game that he's had in these playoffs.
So I think it's a confidence booster, right? Because regardless of who's on the floor, at the end of the day, it's still Golden State, right?
Yep.
And these guys can say, well, we don't watch TV and we don't watch the Stephen A. Smith show and we don't watch the reports and we don't read the newspaper, but they have to hear that they're going up against this juggernaut, this greatest of all time team. Mm-hmm. The Raptors don't have a chance. Who are these guys? I don't know these guys' names other than Kawhi. They have to be here. You have to hear that stuff, right?
Yeah.
With so much going on, you're going to hear that stuff, right? I think they proved to themselves today that they can run with these guys.
Totally.
Because even with Kawhi off the floor, they kept that lead.
Well, things broke down at one point, and you saw Freddie do a great job of taking a little, contact. He took Looney off the dribble, hit a tough lay-in. The confidence was there. And let's talk about Marc Gasol. Let's get to some comments, right?
Okay, yep.
So first off, again, shout out to the people rocking with us on Twitter at Shell Alexander. We take your comments there. Same thing goes for Instagram. But let's start on Twitter. And Gordon says, Marc Gasol scored 20 points in this game. And the reason I'm reading that comment is because it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
But if I were to tell you that Marc Gasol scored 20 points in the NBA Finals for the Toronto Raptors, if I was to tell you that a year ago, you would have told me I was crazy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But Marc Gasol in this game with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, adding a block, 6 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3. A massive, massive game for Marc Gasol. And the bigger key, well, 2 things I'll say. 1, he got off to a great start. Mm-hmm. He hit 2 early threes, and I feel like he's a guy that gets confidence when he's going early. Yeah. If he gets his buckets early, then cool, you can keep going to him. And you saw him after that hitting post moves, getting jiggy with it in the post. You saw a little bit of everything from Gasol. And I give a lot of credit to the game plan, but talk to me about Gasol and what you saw from Gasol. Is this the Marc Gasol that the Raptors need in this series, but also they thought they were getting at the deadline?
Definitely. Because at the end of the day, we talk about his veteran leadership, but again, he's a veteran. Mm-hmm. So he knows that it comes down to matchups like we've been saying. Mm-hmm. So he's looking up, and I kind of understand why they started Jordan Bell.
Yeah.
At the same time,
that's a disrespect.
It is, right? Like I said, I fully understand. But they have one guy on their bench who can match Gasol's size.
Yeah.
But
between Looney and Bogut, you would say.
Yeah, but Looney's not 7 foot. Looney is not big bodied. He's a very active. He's a power forward playing. He's a small ball center.
I got you.
Right, very active.
He's not your traditional center.
Right. And I think Marc Gasol looked up and said, "I don't really have to stay beyond the 3-point line in this game. I can pick my spots.
Get down in the post, get busy."
And that's what he did.
Yeah, and I'm going to give a lot of credit to the game plan as well because the Raptors bought into that. There were moments where, if you look throughout Marc Gasol's time in Toronto, there's times where he's been passive or he's gotten the ball and he's turning down shots. We saw that maybe once or twice tonight, but for the most part, he was aggressive. I loved to see and they showed a replay of it too, where he had the ball with Steph Curry on him. Right? And he's battling, I'm saying he's battling with Steph Curry, but really he's pinning down Steph Curry and he's demanding the ball. Right. And the Raps got him the ball, easy turnaround jumper.
And we haven't seen that in the last 2 series.
Not at all.
At all.
And that's a massive advantage. And I think that happens with or without Boogie Cousins or whoever they want to put in there because a not healthy Boogie Cousins isn't doing anything to stop Gasol.
Right.
So that's a great advantage. Great look there from the Raptors, but you're getting 20 points from Marc Gasol. Again, a 6 of 10 shooting. Also, very aggressive getting to the free throw line. He shot 6 free throws in this game.
Yeah.
That's also huge. If you're getting that production from Marc Gasol, and he only plays 30 minutes, and some of that was foul trouble. He fouled out in the game.
Yeah.
But we talked about having his minutes a little less than 40, right? Closer to 35 to 30 in that range. That way you're getting more Serge and you're getting good active Serge. Serge came in dealing with Gasol's foul trouble, but Serge is energetic, just being active on the glass.
And when he's doing that, we allow the odd 3-point shot,
take your 3
long range too.
We're good with that.
And I think we always hear about Marc Gasol, defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
But his defense tonight, I think we need to talk about that because there was 2 times that I remember where he because Steph tries to do the pick and roll to get on the big man.
Yep.
We've seen him do it in the Houston series against Nene. We've seen him do it again in Portland series against Myers Leonard or whoever was guard, right? And they tried that, and both times, one was a block, one was a jump ball.
Yeah.
Right. So Marc Gasol is able to. And he's not the most mobile guy in the world, but he's able to trap Steph where Steph doesn't have no space to go around him.
Cuts off the angles. It's all positioning with Gasol.
Exactly.
It's not
and
athleticism.
He does that perfectly.
Yeah, it's all positioning with Marc Gasol. And the beauty of this Raptors team, and it's something we talked about all year as well, is that they have guys who can contribute in multiple ways. So we know that even though Kawhi didn't have his best scoring night, you're still getting the Kawhi defense.
Yeah.
Now, Marc Gasol and Siakam had great scoring nights, but they both also, maybe in an even bigger deal, an even bigger factor, was what both of those guys did on the defensive end. You mentioned the pick and rolls. We told you this on the Ball on Blast podcast. I said what the Raps are going to do. You switch everything, and then with your bigs, you trap the screen.
Yep.
And that's what Marc Gasol did. Every time Steph Curry tried to run that screen, they're trapping. And that's the game plan going forward. You force the ball out of Steph's hands, but now he's trying to make passes around Marc Gasol.
Right, exactly.
And Marc Gasol is a legit 7-footer, and we talked about positioning, and he's good. He has great hands. So you mentioned the jump ball. You mentioned the block or steal, however it was counted on the stat sheet. But those are just great plays, and that's what I mean. I don't know what the counter is for the Warriors because the players aren't going to change. Like next game, Marc Gasol is still going to be better than Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
Siakam is still going to be,
And that's what I've been saying.
For Draymond to get a triple-double, but also have to try to chase Siakam around.
Right.
That's a tough game. That's a tough game for Draymond.
And Draymond's not really – he is that guy who's going to give you 17, 10, and 13, right? He's never – actually been that guy who's going to give you 25, 30 on a consistent basis. Totally. He might give you one game of that, right?
Maybe.
But again, Draymond as a 3-point shooter, especially when he really starts to score, is when they're front running and everybody's feeling good about themselves and they're just blowing out teams and everybody's chasing around Steph and Clay and Draymond gets an open three and takes a shot. Yeah. Now Draymond had a decent game, but the length of the Raptors and the defense they play bothers him.
Yeah. Let's get to some more comments here. My guy LTZ29 on Twitter says, stay calm, same rules apply, series don't start till a home team loses.
Definitely.
But in all caps, but man, this is exciting. I love it, LT. I love the energy. And it's tough, right? Because you got to maintain that, maybe we got to follow the lead of Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Never getting too high, never getting too low. Just, hey, next game, cool. Take care of your home games. Do the same thing. But it's tough not to get excited because it's the NBA Finals.
We've been waiting a long time for this.
Oh, man, that's crazy. Time. More comments here on Instagram. Let's get to Instagram. Maybe this person needs to calm down a little, but Lethawan, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, if Raps win game 2, Raps in 5, ? See, this is what we're talking about. Slow down.
Yeah.
Relax. Right? Relax. One game at a time. Just don't think too far ahead.
Yeah, one game at a time.
Because the other part is there's going to be adjustments.
Of course.
Raptors fans should understand this the most after watching what just happened in the Milwaukee series, right? Where you realize, nope, you got to unleash Fred and unleash Norm and play those guys. And then after watching what happened in the Philly series where it was, oh no, we need Kawhi to ball out and we need somebody else to help us. Or the adjustment I think that we always miss in the Philly series was when Siakam got hurt, that's when we got the good Gasol and Kyle Lowry games. Right? And that saved the series as well when the Raps were down 2-1.
Yep.
Either way, the point remains, you gotta wait on the adjustments. Exactly. Every game's going to be different. The next game could be the Draymond game or something like that.
I mean, this is Golden State. So, shoot from the parking lot, Steph could show up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Where everything is just going in the hole.
Steph could hit up with a 50.
Right? Same with Clay. Right? They're both capable of those type of games.
Well, what I was going to say is the reality is, yes, they're both capable of those type of games. But the things that I was trying to tell you guys was that, cool, Steph's going to get his 30. Steph's just that good. Clay's going to get his 30, or they need Clay to get his 30.
Right.
Let's put it that way. So even if, let's say, those two guys get 35, let's say, which is a lot. Even if those guys, how much is that? 70 points. Where's the next 30 plus coming from for Golden State to win that game? That to me is what was talking about, that is going to be the difference of that this entire series. Clay and Steph have to have monster games every single game for Golden State to win without KD, because behind them they don't have the depth of consistent scores. There were times in that game where everybody not named Steph and Clay on that team didn't want to shoot
at all.
They looked shook.
Yeah.
They did not want to shoot at all.
Right. Draymond had 10, but a lot of that was, fouls when the team was in the bonus, right?
Yeah. Draymond did a good job.
He only made maybe two.
Two field goals.
He didn't take any threes. Did he take any
0
threes?
for 2 from
0 for 2. So, but he really didn't want to shoot any threes.
No.
Right? He was just left wide open for those two, so he decided to take them and miss them. Other than that, he hit 2 layups.
Yep. That's it.
And went to the free throw line.
And one thing I'll give Draymond credit. I'll give Draymond a lot of credit for the fact that what he did in this game was he got Kawhi into foul trouble.
Yeah.
In a supremely vet moves,
right?
Yeah. Like he got a rebound and he started dribbling up the floor. Kawhi was chasing him and he just stopped.
Yeah.
Let Kawhi run into him.
Of course.
There's a cheap foul.
Yeah.
Then he also got Kawhi slipping with his arms out.
Yeah.
Got him on the swim move.
Right.
And getting fouls on the Raptors star player, obviously that's a massive deal. The problem is for the Warriors to win without KD and a hundo P KD, they need Draymond to get like closer to 20.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're the Raps, you're happy with anybody else shooting every time down the floor. You're happy with everybody else shooting that's not Steph or Clay. You take that. That's a dub.
And I don't see how Draymond gets his 20, 25, 30 with Siakam on him playing the way he's playing.
Defense wins. We've been saying it the whole year.
We've been seeing, and I think
Siakam had a couple nice blocks in this game too.
And I think Siakam also played tough, controlled defense,
perimeter defense
on Clay.
Yes. Yeah.
And those were the plays where I was like, okay, how is Clay getting shots off?
Because you have to make Clay dribble.
Exactly.
Again, guys, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna try to say this and not try to come off as a jackass. Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of people talking about basketball that don't really know basketball, and there's people that tell on themselves, right? We said on the last pod, if you're the Raps, what you got to do, run the Warriors off the line, but make Clay dribble. And if you're making Clay dribble, you have a much better chance of having a positive outcome if you're the Toronto Raptors. Make Clay dribble, chase Steph off the line. That's what the Raps did, and you're able to switch everything because Siakam can switch every single pick and roll that they want to run. And what is that doing now if you're the Warriors? What's your offense? What are you going to?
Exactly.
All backdoor cuts to like Looney and those guys? Yeah. Cool. If you're the Raps, that's a win.
Honestly, I don't even remember either one of them, and they might, right? But I don't remember either one of them making a 3-point shot in the second half, right?
Steph or Clay? Or any?
They might have, right?
Yeah, Steph
did. They might have made a couple,
sure,
but most of they were ran off the line, Steph up faked, and then drove in. Totally. And if Steph Curry is hitting floaters and layups, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
That's one less point per possession that he's getting.
Glow Girl Smile on Instagram says, never assume the win, but so happy for winning game 1. It's doing what you have to do as the Raptors. And I feel like for the fan base, there's so many people still unsure about the Raptors against the Warriors. And I think people still think that everyone's saying the Warriors are back and them missing KD means they go back to being the old Warriors. Like, no. This is not the old Warriors, okay? The old Warriors, Andrew Bogut was not washed. He was not playing in the Australian League.
Yeah.
The old Warriors, Iguodala was not washed either. Livingston was not washed either.
Forget about Harrison Barnes.
They also had Harrison Barnes on that team without Kevin Durant. They also had Barbosa coming off the bench, giving them a couple points. They had Mo Spates.
Mo Buckets. They called him Mo Buckets.
They had a bunch of guys who were NBA vets on that team that could get busy helping Clay and Steph and KD. Forget about KD and Draymond. That's what I meant. Yeah. That was the old Golden State Warriors. Strength in numbers. That's where it came from, right? Those guys were the stars, but it was a collective that made them superstars. Yeah. That's not this team. Yeah. And so when everyone was trying to tell you, oh, they just went back to playing like the old Warriors, cool. That can work against a team that doesn't play defense, but not against the Raptors. They need a healthy Kevin Durant to beat the Raptors. Firmly confident in that.
Well, you got to think like we just said, like Iguodala was hobbling in the fourth quarter. Right?
That's a big problem.
In the Portland series, when Iguodala went out and didn't play in the game, who did they start? They started McKinney.
McKinney, yes,
right?
yes,
McKinney
right.
couldn't make the Raptors roster McKinney's a Golden State Warrior because he couldn't crack the Raptors roster.
Facts only.
Right?
Super facts.
So take that with a grain of salt.
More comments here on Instagram. I want to get through these because I appreciate you guys so much tuning in to this To Wrap It Up podcast. Of course, rocking with us all year. My guy Joey says, they can't guard us. Defense too strong and way too many offensive weapons. Raptors will win this series. Emma says, Pascal will have his branded shit on the podium. That's for sure. LOL. Good for him. He deserves
Chili
this.
peppers for everybody.
Hey, yeah, I see Pascal. He's got his Canadian tuxedo on. He's got his jean jacket swag on, and the P Skills hat for sure. Let's see what else. More comments here. Two Ply Gal says, "What a time to be alive. That was a great game." Let's see more comments. Kawhi and Kyle average shooting night, and we still win. That to me is the most positive sign if you're the Toronto Raptors. Your two star players don't really have great shooting nights at all. But seeing Danny Green come alive, hitting 3 threes in this game, and 11 points, Danny Green in the double figures. Fred VanVleet's positive shooting continues.
Well, we talked about this during the game is, right, when you look at Golden State, right, just say all of a sudden if Clay or Steph, sorry, not Clay, but if Steph is not shooting the ball well, what does he contribute to that team, right? Whereas Kyle took charges, drew fouls, made them. He took a lot of fouls. I think 5 fouls at the end of the game, but it was
used his fouls.
But it was just using those fouls smartly. And you're not getting easy layups.
Yep.
Right?
Draymond, go hit 2 free throws.
Right. Kevon Looney, go hit 2 free throws. Right.
Yes.
You're right. Totally He's giving you that. He also gives you that leadership, that ball handling, where he didn't force. He didn't. There was a couple plays where I think he could have just calmed it down, but he didn't. He doesn't force a lot, right? Kyle didn't shoot too much in this game, right?
Yeah,
he's not forcing it. The monkey's not on his shoulder. He's there to run the offense,
facilitate. He had 9 assists total in this game, but very early on he had 6 assists in this game.
Yeah,
meaning he's getting everyone else going, which as a point guard, that's massive.
That's what your job is.
Exactly
right. And then we don't have to talk about Kawhi. Kawhi obviously best two-way player in the game. Even when he's not having a bad shooting night, he still comes up with those clutch plays. And then obviously the defense is the defense.
But the thing, going back to the theme the whole year, and I know my Instagram posse will support me when I say this because I've said it all year long. The strength of the Toronto Raptors is they have multiple guys who can contribute in different ways. And when we talk about levels to the superstar shit, I never really, like, Steph Curry definitely is a superstar. But when people start talking about top 3, top 5 in the league, I can't rate you if you don't even play on one half of the floor.
Right.
Like, how can Steph Curry be in the Kawhi Leonard conversation? That's a part that I never understand, right? So
when
again,
you're the focus of the other team's offense.
Yeah.
Is to put you in the pick and roll and make you guard. You can't really be in that category with the greatest of all time.
Because that's my point. It's not even the fact that he's an okay defender. It's like, no, you're getting hunted on the defensive end. Like, they're saying, no, we're screening to get you on our guy to get buckets.
I haven't seen Marc Gasol in the post in 2 series. All of a sudden, Steph's on him, and he's Shaq. So you know what I mean? Like it's just, you can't be in that category. Greatest shooter of all time,
for sure.
Give you that hands down.
Yep.
Great offensive weapon, can handle the ball, makes layups in crowds where he probably shouldn't for his size.
Yeah.
Give you that. Offensive end, right up there. He's not an all-around player.
There's still another half of basketball.
Even the refs don't, as a superstar, even the refs, you're not even getting calls from the refs.
Yeah.
On the defensive end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. There's a charge call he could have got that went the other way on Kawhi. It's just the ever-present example of there's levels to this shit.
Yep.
And offense and defense is the thing why the Raptors will win the series. They play defense. And now I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm just sticking to what I originally said, Raps in 6. But the things nothing changed my mind, let's say, going what I saw in game one. Nothing changed my mind. I'm encouraged by the fact that, hey, that was the okay Kawhi game.
Yep.
He didn't seem to have his legs on some of those jumpers.
Yep.
And you win that game. Cool. You take it. Panama Train says, living in Costa Rica, repping the Raptors nation always. Game one in the books, baby. Let's
Costa
go.
Rica, I like it.
Costa Rica. Sounds nice.
You thought we were
Mikey,
only a
what up?
Canadian team. We're international, baby.
We international. Yo, there's a dude that was repping from Greece the other day. He hit me up in
There
the
you
DM
go.
saying he's always watching the show late night, no matter what time it's on, because obviously the time difference is
Yeah.
is different, right? So he'll stay up, watch the game, and then he's catching the podcast afterwards. So shouts to Greece, and was repping the Raptors against the Greek Freak.
There you go.
Shouts to Mikey, who chimes in and says 3 more wins, boys. 3 more wins. The Raptors are 3 wins away from from winning the NBA championship.
You know,
I'm just saying.
after Game 6, you know, you see me here, and I apologize because I was here with my champagne bottle. I was celebrating. I won't tell you what happened after the show closed, but
Oh man. Yeah.
you know where we'll be after the Raptors win that 4th game. All at the
That's too
all
much
at the-
talk. That's too much talk. That's too much talk. It's game one.
All right, it's game one.
too
All
much
right.
talk.
We'll bring it back.
It's
We'll
game
bring
one.
it back. We'll
Relax.
bring it back.
Relax. It's
I'm
game
hype.
one.
I'm hype.
Be hype.
I like what
babe.
I seen tonight.
Is
Right? I like what I seen tonight.
They held on to a lead. It was just a solid, professional
Yeah.
home victory in the playoffs. They held on to the lead. They basically won the game from start to finish,
Yep.
right? They only lost the third quarter.
Yep.
Hung on from Jump Street, did the work. Diaz says, good to see Danny Green have a good game when it counts.
Definitely.
I was never worried about Danny Green. Were you worried about Danny Green?
No, it's Danny Green. It's you know.
To me, the math was always going to even out.
Yeah.
He's too good of a shooter for it not to. I loved when he hit those threes, especially the
course.
one he hit late.
Yeah.
Because the Raptors, it was like, I think I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, it went from like 8 to 11.
Yeah.
That was a 3, but it was in the midst of a run. Siakam was cooking. You saw him coming down, and we yelled from as soon as Siakam got the ball, like, find Danny, find Danny.
Yeah.
Splash, timeout, Warriors. Those are the threes we need. Those are the threes that are just like, Danny Green.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Raptors fans, I hope you didn't give up on Danny Green either. And I love his quotes the other day. He was like, hey, guys, I know that I'm shooting bad. And he's like, the amount of people that they see him in the streets or they're telling him in his DMs,
Yeah.
keep shooting. He's like, don't worry, guys, I will keep shooting.
Yeah.
You know what's throwing me off? You guys telling me to keep shooting. Oh, man. Lion Showtime says, Dagger by Lowry was ridiculous. I can't lie to
That's
you.
what Lowry does.
Do you know what gave me all the feels? Hearing Kyle Lowry for 3, bang, from Mike Breen in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
That, to me, was like oh my God, this is really happening
Right
right
here.
now.
Yep.
The Kyle Lowry, the bang from Mike Breen in the Finals. Let's go. That got me hype. A couple more comments here before we wrap up. Seven High Life says, Raptors in 4 or 5. Remember, Sheldon? I said that. Hey, I ain't mad at you, homie.
Love the confidence.
I ain't mad at you. Another comment. Danny Money Green back on track. We love to see that for sure. Someone's asking, how hurt is Kawhi, do you think? I'm worried.
Why?
I saw Kawhi got hit in the head.
Yeah.
I saw him leave the game. Oh, no, he didn't leave the game.
He didn't leave the game.
I saw him grab his head, pardon me.
He got hit in
But
his jaw.
I
Or something.
I assume he was okay. Like, it didn't look too bad
That's
or
called
anything.
Cyborg for a reason. He's not. He's gonna come back next game.
I mean, Kawhi seemed to be all right. Nothing, didn't seem to be anything too crazy. I'm checking the feeds right now to see if anyone has said anything in the post game, but nothing appears to be coming out yet. Van Fleet did say, so has Kyle Lowry ever heard the building this loud before? No, it was pretty crazy in here tonight. We had the best fans in the NBA, and they're showing it every night. We really appreciate it. Van Fleet said, you can feel the city's on fire right now, and it's building each game. That's leading me to find a tweet earlier from Kendrick Perkins,
Yeah.
which I thought kind of, there's different things. You listen to talking heads. You listen to guys like us sitting on our couch. You listen to talking heads who, get paid to talk every day. Cool. But one thing I always find interesting is when you hear from other players because they're going to give you the perspective because they've really seen the shit and been in the shit, right? Kendrick Perkins, a man who's obviously been in playoff battles, been in hostile environments in the playoffs with OKC, with Boston for sure, right? Perkins said, the energy in and outside this arena is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. Don't know if I'm at the finals, the club, or the inauguration. Jesus Christ.
So let me speak on this. Anybody who doesn't know, Kendrick Perkins is from a town called Beaumont, Texas.
Hey.
One of our buddies, Foots, who's been on the show, went to school in Beaumont, Texas.
Correct.
If y'all ever been to Texas, let me tell you something. I went to go visit Foots once, and we were there, and it was a high school track meet.
Okay.
And it was like caravan in the streets for a high school track meet.
Okay. So this
right? It was like Texas. It's called Texas Relays, right?
Yes.
It was in Austin, Texas, and it was Caravana that night. We got hotel rooms. We were there. We were out on the streets. We were bar hopping. It was Caravana. So for a man from Texas to say he's never seen anything like this before in the city of Toronto,
yeah,
Toronto, we're doing it right.
We're doing it right. A couple more comments before we wrap things up. Steezy Penguin says, Siakam's night. He's feasting now that he doesn't have Embiid or Giannis defending him. Draymond is BBQ chicken. Another comment, Golden State has less scoring threats than the Raps. Totally true. Yep. Van Fleet keeps it hot. We win. I mean, can't argue with that point as well. Great comment here. Maybe this is the one we'll end on. The Raptors have never lost a finals game. That's from Fazil on Twitter.
Point.
Super facts, right?
Yep.
The Toronto Raptors have never lost a game in the NBA
we are
Finals.
100.
What a time to be alive.
1,000.
Oh, man. Q. Game 2's coming up. But as of now, there's another reminder sent in here. I'm going to scroll back up because, before we wrap things up, let's get things serious here. And remember, as Lions Showtime said, pump the brakes, everybody. It's just game 1. This is what we're supposed to do. This is the reminder. As the Toronto Raptors, win your home games.
Yep.
You came out and did what you're supposed to do. We might not be used to watching that from the Toronto Raptors, but we're also not used to watching the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals.
Exactly.
We're not used to watching this Toronto Raptors team.
Definitely.
Been telling you all year long. And go back to our season preview. I told you the Raptors were going to make the finals. But I'm saying, it's just different.
It is. And it's the way they won.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not that they won, it's the way they won.
Yes.
Without Kawhi having his best game,
Yep.
they seem to have the answers. Nick Nurse was calling early timeouts when he didn't like what he was seeing.
Yeah.
It's just, again, we've been saying the thing. We said this all last series, right? Is, the series doesn't start until somebody loses at home. So we're realists, right? We're not crazy, oblivious Raptor fans here. We're doing this because we watch basketball, so we know that it's game 2 is not a given, and nobody here is saying Raptors in 4. It's going to be a sweep.
No.
It's done. It's barbecue chicken. Let's celebrate. But we are not, as Toronto fans of any sports team in Toronto, we are just not used to this level of
There's just a professional win.
Right. We're just not used to it. Right? We're not used to winning game 1s at home.
Yeah, shout to my guy Cab right now. I see him with the bow tie on. Shout to my guy Cab. What up? I gotta hit him up, man. I haven't hit him up in a while. That caught me off guard. I like the bow tie.
And just think. Look right now Cab is interviewing Stauskas and Jamal Murray. And you don't think these local boys are looking up and being like, man, I wish I was playing at home right now? Right? No, that's going a little too.
It's going way too deep.
It's going too deep, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like.
Hold on. I'm gonna cut you. Let's slow down and just let's slow down here.
All right.
And,
I was saying,
and get a couple more wins first.
Yeah. So we're not saying the series is over.
No.
Playing the parade. We're not there yet.
No.
But I like what I see.
We're encouraged by game 1.
I'm very encouraged.
So again, Toronto Raptors win game 1 of the NBA Finals, 118-109. Pascal Siakam, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Massive game for Pascal.
Yep.
He led the way. Monster performance for the Toronto Raptors. And, stepped up in a big way when they needed it because Kawhi didn't really have it for most of the night.
Yep.
But because he's a superstar, the box score at the end of the game,
found his ways.
You wouldn't even figure it out. But huge shouts to Pascal. Huge shouts to Marc Gasol, who also put up 20 points in this game. And huge shouts to Nick Nurse because the game plan, the Raps look prepared for this game.
Yep.
Golden State, maybe they're undermanned, so there's only one way they can play. But they don't have that break in case of emergency valve of KD, ISO, save us.
Yeah. They
don't have that. So, hey, Raptors win game 1. We'll see what happens. Instagram, this feed's about to cut off soon, but I'm wrapping up the podcast anyways. Thanks for rocking with us on Instagram, people, at Sheldon Alexander. Again, thanks to the people rocking with me on Twitter, at Shell Alexander, because we're here after each and every Toronto Raptors game doing this, what we call the Wrap It Up podcast. Q, where can the people hit you up? Where can they find you on the socials?
People, I just want to say, we use a lot of catchphrases here, so I just want to say, you guys could have been anywhere in the world. You guys could have been watching post-game shows on TV or whatever, but y'all chose to be here with us like you have throughout the whole season, and we madly appreciate it.
Definitely.
It's love. Nothing but love for all of you. Y'all can catch me anywhere, anytime. Holler at me anywhere, anytime. Simply_just_Q on all social media, or at DDS Caps. You can holler at myself or our buddy who's not here today. Yeah, man. Game 1's in the bag. And again, the bus doors are closing, man. If you had jumped on by now. And shout out to Fred. We didn't mention Fred too much in the series, but in this game, but made his shots, drove the ball to the basket, made some key layups, and played some good defense. He's the reason why Steph didn't score 50.
Yeah.
Right? He played some good defense on Steph, made it hard for him.
Yeah.
So shout out to Fred.
Gave a lot of good minutes too with Kyle.
Toronto, we're on a wave, man. I don't care if you're a basketball fan or Raptor fan or whatever. Enjoy what's going on in this city right now. Mm-hmm. Don't take it for granted. Yeah. Enjoy this.
For sure, right? We haven't been here in a championship series since I was 10 years old, right? 1993.
Yeah.
That's the last Jays World Series.
Yeah.
And we've gotten close, kinda, sorta, but this is real. And what Q's saying is super facts. And all year long, the theme here, if you follow this podcast, has been enjoy this, because this is the best Raptors team ever.
Yep.
The best player ever. Enjoy this run while you can, because, hey, 3 wins away from winning an NBA championship. Let's go. Again, my name is Sheldon Alexander, and I always used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Till next time, see ya.
Peace, Toronto, Canada.
On blast.